All right. So let's start. Welcome, everyone. So today I'm going to talk about the results, why you get the same results over and over, even if you don't want it or if you don't like the results, but you get them anyway. So why is that, and how you can change that results? So how do you get your results?
By doing something.
By doing something, by acting. So this is actually the action that will produce results. Unless you take action, there is no result. If I don't take any action, there is no result. It's zero, right? And when I take action, then I get results. Okay? So that's how we get results. And you have been in high school and you have read the Newton laws, right? So for each action, there is a reaction equal and opposite of direction. And sometimes actually maybe it's not opposite direction, but always there is reaction equal to your action. And this is not only on physical aspects of life, this is in our psychological and like our mental aspect of life also. That's how we get the results. So it's based on the action. If you act very strong, you get a strong result. If you act very weak, you get a weak result. And this is very natural. So that's why we get the results in our life, because we take those action and we get those results. So where is the action originated from? Or I can ask you this question. How do you act?
You decide and you act.
You decide and act. Okay. What else?
It depends.
Do you?
Reaction.
Yeah, it depends on what?
Depends on what you're faced with.
It also depends on the automatic reflexes. That's also action.
Yeah. Yeah. So sometimes you decide on something, but you don't take any action. Right?
Yes.
Only if you take action, you get the results. So, yeah, decision is good, but we act based on our emotion. We think logically, but we act based on emotion. I'm going to give you an example. So, let's say you are passing by a house is just going on fire. What do? Do you go inside that house that is on fire?
No.
No. Why not?
Because I don't want to put my life in danger. I call whoever is trained to go in there.
Right. Okay. So you don't go there because you think logically. Okay. Now let's change the picture a little bit. You pass by that house, you see that house is going on fire, and you think maybe there is someone there, but you're not sure.
Mm-hmm.
Do you still go in that house or no?
Yes.
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
Just
Sure.
instinct.
It's fire. You are thinking maybe there is someone there, but you're not sure.
Right.
Do you go inside the fire?
That is the reason. The
It
last
kind
part.
of depends.
Last part is the reason is you think there is somebody in there.
Yeah.
Try to save that person.
Yeah.
Yeah. But do you go inside the fire
Yes.
that you're sure that you're going to be burned?
Well,
Well, no.
if you
What's the logical?
I gotta be pretty positive
Let's-
there's somebody in there.
No, let's
You're not going to go if you are sure you're going to be burned.
Right.
That's a suicide.
Right.
yeah, that's a suicide, exactly.
Good point.
So if you're sure that you're going to be burned, you're not going to go there.
No.
What do?
You
What's the
call-
next step?
You call some help.
You call for help. You call 911. You call the fire department to get help, right?
You call the neighbor.
And this is
somebody.
pretty logic.
Right.
It's logical thinking. It's a good reason. Now, let's change the picture and say you are actually hearing someone is screaming from the house, What
Right.
do you do now?
Now you have to find a way to get in without
You-
getting hurt.
Exactly, right?
Yes.
You have to find to get in without getting hurt.
Yes.
Maybe you can find something to break the
Ladder
window,
to
to
throw
break the
windows.
door, or put a ladder on the house and say, okay, get out. Okay? So you might go, might not, right? Now let's change the picture and you see that house is going on fire and you see your child behind the window is screaming and asking for help. Do you
Oh,
go
man,
there?
I will go through that, fire burned or not, and I come out scorched as long as I say that.
Exactly, you go in. Why?
The emotion.
Exactly.
Because I have an emotional attached to that child. And, yeah.
So, do you know we act upon logical reasoning only less than 10% of the times?
Right. I mean, another example is if you see a kid or somebody drowning, you jump in there.
Exactly.
And sometimes that person survives and the person who's trying to save drowns.
Right.
Yeah. So, and it's very interesting that more than 90% of the time, actually, we act upon our emotion. And this is in entire life.
Can you say it again?
More than 90% of the times, we act upon emotion, not upon logic, not upon reasons. Okay? We think logically, but we act emotionally. That's how we act.
But
Okay?
you don't like the politics, but that's what happened yesterday. Right?
It's true for any aspects of your life. We act upon emotion. There is no way around it. We only small percentage of our action actually is based on logic. And it's it's not interesting.
Yeah.
And interestingly, when you act, when I gave you that picture that you see your child behind the window screaming and asking for help, do you care if you burn? No. And do you know, it's very interesting, at that time, at that few seconds, you find something very strange that never thought of that. A strong power, in few seconds, maybe like even a fraction of a second, you realize if you are wearing something that is very like flammable, you take it off. Or you get something around you. Or you do something, or you get a rock or something to break the window or the door, or get like a lever or something to break the door and get in, no matter what.
Sometimes
And
you get-
interestingly, at that time, you're not going to be burned. You won't burn. You can go through the fire at that moment that you are, it's like a meditation, okay? You are meditated in a quick second. You go inside that fire without burning, you take the child, get out. And when you time it, it's very, very quick. It's just a few seconds. While if you do it in regular time without having this situation, it takes you at least a few minutes. It may take you hours to break the door or window or do something.
Or lift your car if somebody is pinned.
Exactly.
Somewhere, you get a superpower.
Yeah, exactly.
The cold
Adrenaline.
waters.
It's your
Yeah.
adrenaline.
Probably you have seen it
It's
in
It's
your
your adrenaline.
profession.
It's
Yeah.
kicking in. You can do anything.
In car crash, people, I have seen it actually myself. That
Pick up a car.
yeah, because the car.
I've seen that.
Where is that power from?
It's adrenaline.
Yeah,
Emotion.
it's at
Emotion.
yeah. Why? Because you get that shot of adrenaline and get that power. So you have that power within you. But the question is, do we use that power every time?
Or can we use it? More important, can we use it?
You can use it.
Okay.
You can use it. However, the question is if you are willing to use it. Now, when I go through the presentation, you'll see why you get the results in any other aspects of your life, like your financial, your career, your job, your relationship, your whatever, your health, your wealth. You get the results because you are acting upon some emotions, and you can change those emotions. It takes time, however, you can change it. Okay? So have that picture in mind. So how your emotion is built, where is that emotion from?
Experiences?
Exactly. Experiences and what?
Environment?
Environment. Other people,
The way you've been programmed?
right? Good job. You hit it. You hit it. Because
I get to start.
it's programmed in our mind.
Uh-huh.
So the program in our subconscious mind actually has been built from childhood, started in childhood. However, every day we get some ideas, we get some thoughts, we learn some experience, we learn new things, and that's how we have these default programming in our subconscious mind, and that's how we get those emotions and we act upon those emotions. Okay?
All the programming is there. The question is how to use it.
Can you open the
How
open
it's,
it.
how it comes into play.
How to find
Yeah,
it and use it.
yeah, default, so you
How to
should
find what?
back to those.
Right.
Yes. Hi.
How to find what?
I say how to find that program which is already there, the software,
Oh,
and then use it.
okay. How to find that program?
But you say it's a default. It's already
It's a
there.
default program. How do we know about that program?
Right.
Just look at the results. Look at the results in your health, in your wealth, financially, in your career, in your job, in if you're a student, your scores, your relationship, your social impact. There are 4 main pillars of life. There are others, but 4 main pillars: health, wealth, love and relationship, and social impact. Okay? Whatever we do is based on those pillars. It's just like a car. If you have all 4 tires in a normal condition, you can go fast, you can go far. However, if you have 1 flat tire, you cannot go far anymore, right? So those 4 main pillars of life are very, very important. And I say them all the time in row: health. Because if you're not healthy, you're not gonna act upon something else. You're not gonna build your wealth. You're not gonna get a good job. You're not going for a career because you have pain in your body, because you're not healthy.
Survival
health-
comes first.
Pardon me?
I said survival comes first.
Yeah, exactly.
Health is the first.
Yeah. So health is the first one that we need to pay attention. And you should pay attention to these 4 main pillars of life all day, every day. Okay? Your health, your wealth, your income. Because if you don't have enough income, you're not gonna have a good relationship. Not with your spouse, not with your children, not with your parents or sibling or friends or coworkers. Because you are stressed out. And when you're stressed out, then you're not gonna have a healthy relationship with others. Okay? So that's why health, wealth, and then love and relationship. Don't get me wrong, in childhood, relationship is very important, not wealth.
Right.
But we're talking about adults. Okay? In adulthood, in adult life, it's very important to stay healthy, to build enough wealth that you don't need to go after other things, so you cover your basic needs at least, okay? And then you go higher. After the basic needs, then you go after the wants, what you want for wealth, okay? And then you have love and relationship. When you build a good relationship, when you are wealthy enough, then you think about giving back to community. Then you think about helping others. That's why on this presentation I don't have those pictures from the organization that I help. But every time you've been here and you see, every time I show that.
Yes.
Because this is part of life. When you give back to community, when you help others to grow, then you feel good. You are satisfied with your life. Okay?
That was me yesterday.
Okay.
It was awesome.
So, I said the program is in our mind, is in our subconscious mind. The question is, where is mind? And what is mind? Where is mind?
Inside your brain.
Inside your brain. Okay. Anybody else?
Subconscious
Mind.
Subconscious
Mind in total, like in general. In general, mind has two classifications: conscious mind and subconscious mind. I'm going to go through that.
Okay.
Those two parts. But where is mind? How do you define mind? Can you explain it?
The thinking?
The thinking,
Feelings.
yes, thinking is coming from mind. You think with your mind,
Right, okay.
but not with your brain. Okay? Brain is electrical switching station. It's like a computer.
Like a zeros and ones.
Exactly. Yeah. So mind actually is energy, is the software.
Right.
Okay? Just like your computer, if you have your computer without any software, you cannot use it.
Right.
So let's give you an example. If a baby is born right now, and you take this baby somewhere without giving any emotion, without like parenting, you feed the baby, you bathe the baby, and you take care of the baby just on time, and you don't act anything with that baby. You don't take any emotion involved in like growing this baby. Okay? If this baby grows like in next 10 years or 20 years, can this child talk?
No.
No. He or she makes some noises, right? Because he has vocal cord, and she or he has voice. However, he or she cannot talk, cannot speak, cannot make sentences,
A language.
right?
Cannot.
Yeah.
Communicate.
So, mind actually is energy, is the software. Like your computer, if you buy a computer without any software on it, you have the computer, you have the hardware, you have that brain, but it doesn't work.
Right.
Then you want to make it work, right? What do? You install the software on your computer. And that's installing software is exactly how the mind grows from the childhood.
So it's installed
I
through
see.
your environment.
Pardon me?
The softwares are installed through your environment.
Exactly. So it starts with parents or whoever, caregivers,
Yeah.
maybe not parents. The adults, the sibling, the environment, the teachers, school, media, whatever is around us,
Right.
okay, feeding us those information. Okay, and that's how mind actually is programmed. And when it's programmed, we have that default program in our subconscious mind. Okay, it's stored, the data is stored in brain. However, when we think, we use the data from brain and we think, and we make reason, and we make logics, and we go through that process.
So it's all based on the data you have accumulated.
Exactly.
Over time.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Over time, when you accumulate those data, you store it in your brain. However, you use it with your mind. You think with your mind.
So depends how fast you can retrieve it.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. So software, we cannot describe exactly what software is, like energy. We cannot exactly describe the energy. When you look at the dictionary for energy, there's some description. However, we can see the effects of different types of energy, like heat, right? Like mechanical energy. We can see the effects of the types of energy, but we cannot define exactly, okay, what's energy?
The physical definition in the physics of energy can never be created or destroyed.
Yes, exactly.
It can be converted from one form or the other,
Yes,
but it can never, there's only finite number of energy there.
yes,
It cannot be destroyed or created.
yes, exactly. So it's not going to be destroyed or created. And interestingly, mind is energy. Mind is that software. We don't have exact definition for that, but we can use it. We can not feel it, touch it, but we can feel it from inside. Okay. So this is how it works. So when I ask people in many of my lectures or classes, when I ask people, where is mind? They automatically mention brain. Where, interestingly, mind is not exactly brain. However, use the brain, use the stored data in brain, and make that process of thinking.
So in today's computer language, it could be the clouds.
Right?
Right?
And
I got it in iCloud.
And it's very interesting because computer actually is just like a human.
Right.
You have the hardware for brain, you have the software for mind, and through the software you order something to the hardware, to the brain, and you take action, the body, and you get the results on the screen. Okay? This is
And
just
Oh,
like a
we're
human.
getting somewhere now.
And as you say, many of these softwares have a defaulted. They automatically act.
Yes.
Like your heart needs to keep pumping certain number of times. Things like that. They're all being ordered through the software.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So this is how it works. Mind order brain and use the data in brain, and brain order the body. Okay, the main order comes from mind. However, to act, to like make muscle movement, the brain actually is ordering the body to make that movement, right? Yeah, it's so, and then through your body you take action, and then you get the results. Okay, so let's show you this picture how it works. So this picture actually is from Dr. Thurman Fleet. It's from Dr. Thurman Fleet from San Antonio, Texas, and he drew this picture in 1934. He was a chiropractor, but he was working on holistic medicine, and he believed that we treat the symptoms of patient. We are not treating the patient as a whole person. And that's how he got in that kind of treatment, and he called it holistic medicine. Well, holistic medicine have been there before, like from ancient era, but when we got the modern medicine, we totally forgot about holistic medicine. And we just kept giving medications, which is based on trial and error. We don't know how the body actually will act upon that medication. And we do some surgeries, we do some procedures. And we rely upon those medications and procedures, not a holistic medicine, not working on mind and empowering the mind. Because the power of healing is inside your body, okay? That's how when you cut somewhere, your skin, it's gonna be healed because you have that power. That's how when you get a disease, you overcome the disease. You take some medication to put your body at ease and then give time to your body to heal. When we do surgery, what we do? For example, if we do surgery on a tumor, we take out some of the tumor, but microscopically, we cannot take the whole thing out, right?
You hope you do.
We hope you do, yeah. Or when we cut somewhere, like part of like your ball, what we do, we make injury actually, and we put them together, and that's the body actually is healing it.
Right.
So the power of healing, the power of getting better, overcome the disease is in your body.
Your
And-
cells are being repaired or rejuvenated continuously in
Yes.
the body.
Yes. And then this power actually, where it's coming from? From mind. In a previous lecture, I showed, some of you were here, I talked about people that they got disease just because they thought they have that disease. And I forgot the name of the guy who was working on in a railroad, and he got stuck in the freezer,
Yeah.
and he thought the freezer is working, and he thought in his imagination the weather inside, the temperature inside that freezer is in freezing is minus, for example, minus 20, okay? And like it was evening, by morning he was dead. And then next day when the crew came, they found him dead in the freezer, and they reported to the management team, and management team said that freezer was not working. And it was broken, and the temperature inside that freezer was 55 Fahrenheit. And he got dead. And when they took the body to forensic medicine to do autopsy, they found every evidence in that body was because of the freezing. So power of mind froze that body without having the real freezing temperature. It was not cold. Okay? And on the other side, I told you that some of you were here about Mr. Wright, that he got a cancer. He had lymphosarcoma, which is one of the malignant cancer, and he read the news about the medication, and he thought that medication will heal him, and so he insisted to get that medication. The expectancy of his life at that time was 2 days. He was so bad, he couldn't breathe. But he insisted, and he pushed his doctor to give that medication while he was not actually in the situation to be concluded in that study, because that medication came just out at that time, and it was experimental study, and the theory was this medication will heal the cancer, will cure the cancer. And he said, I'm going to get that medication because I'm going to be healed with that medication. And he got the medication, and they thought, it was on Friday, they gave the medication, and they thought by Monday he's going to be dead. The doctor came back on Monday, and he was expecting to get the news from the nurses that Mr. Wright is dead during the weekend. And he saw Mr. Wright actually walking through the ward and talking to people. And when he saw the lymph nodes, like in neck, in axillary area, are just melting down in that 2 days. Why?
Because he believed.
Because he believed. And later on, then he got discharged in 10 days. He got discharged from hospital. He went back to his life. And he was a rich guy. He had a private jet. He flew again. And then after 2 months, the news came out from American Medical Association, AMA, that that medication was not effective. And he got sick. He went back to hospital, and the doctor didn't know what to do.
Right?
Like, what else I can do? And he said, Mr. Wright, the problem with that first batch of medication was because that medication should be in cold temperature, and somehow the temperature got warm because the cold chain was broken somehow, and we are getting another batch of that medication with double strength. And then he injected just distilled water, just water.
Selling water.
And this time, the lymph nodes melted down very quickly.
Okay.
And he got discharged in 6 days. The first time was in 10 days. This time, in 6 days, he got discharged. He went back to his life. He did everything he wanted. He was healthy. He didn't have any sign of lymphosarcoma. And then the news, the final study came out that that medication was useless.
Oh. And he never even got it in the first place.
A few days, he came back to hospital,
Uh-huh.
and 2 days later, he died.
So do you think those people, they got cancer and they get a lot of medication, they get like recovery by that
Placebo is-
medication, or just their power of mind?
Yeah, do you know, for every disease, for every condition, there are two parts. One part is physical, okay? We get a disease, we cannot deny that. The other part is mental. So, yes, the procedures are good, the medications are good. However, if you have a patient, do not believe in that treatment, do not believe in that medication, it's not going to work for that patient. Why a patient go to a doctor and get better, and some other patients with the same disease go to the same doctor, get the same treatment, the same medication, they don't get better? Because some people, they believe in that, some people, they don't. I don't say the medication doesn't affect. Yes, medication does affect. The treatment, the surgery, the procedure does affect. However, if you don't believe in that, it's not going to be helpful. So that's why it's very important to build that friendly relationship between the doctor and the patient. And that's how actually many of my patients got better, not because I was smarter than the other doctors, just because I had that close relationship to with my patients.
So you help them increase their belief.
Yes,
That's the
I
bottom.
always do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always do. Even now, I don't practice medicine, but through my coaching program, through
Oh, you're still practicing a little bit.
I practice on personalized medicine, which is different. But wherever I teach this power, and I make people aware that the power is within them. They can activate it. They can use it.
In fact, I believe even when somebody is ill and you got the prescriptions, your body is actually working internally to take care of that as well,
Yes.
in addition to the prescription.
Yes, that's exactly right. So for each disease, for each condition, we have two parts, physical and mental. And they work together, they affect each other. Our body affects our mind, and our mind affects our body. However, you can change your belief, you can change the power of your mind and strengthen it, and then your mind affects your body. And that's how you get better, and that's how you heal the disease quickly, you overcome the disease quickly.
Yeah.
And some other people, they have the same disease, they get the same treatment, but they don't get better. Yes, genetics has some effects, but the power of mind is stronger than any other forces.
It's once you start believing, you're also reducing the stress
Exactly.
on
Yes.
your body.
Yeah. When you think positive, when you have positive beliefs, then you reduce the stress, and when your anxiety is lower level, your body heals easily. And that have been proved actually. Those people who have more stress, they get more cancer. And those people who have the same genes like the others, and they don't have stress or less stress than others, they either don't get cancer or less
Actually,
cancer.
I was reading an article yesterday that those who have a stress, it takes them longer to heal.
Yes, that's true. Because when you have stress, your immune system doesn't work in normal situation anymore. And when your immune system, excuse me, when your immune system doesn't work normally, well, what happens?
Right.
You get sick.
You get sick. All right. So how did you get the default program in your mind? We talked a little bit about that, right? And how you can change this default program. So I talked about that, that we get this default programming in our mind from childhood. So whomever is around us, our adult sibling, parents, I don't know, teachers, school, media, whatever is around us is feeding the information constantly to our mind. Okay? And we get this information. So we built this default program in our subconscious mind. And the center for emotion actually is in our subconscious mind. And that's why we get the same results over and over. That's why people are so predictable. No matter what they do, they are predictable. If you go to any company, they can tell you quickly the amount of production. Why? Because no, it's trying to breathe. So that's why we are predictable creature, and we act upon our habits, and our habits actually comes from our emotions, is from default programming that we have been taught from childhood and during school and later on, and even in adult life. When we hear an idea, when we get a thought, when we get a suggestion, a recommendation from other people, if it's negative, it goes right away to subconscious mind. If it's positive, we may accept it or not. It's very interesting. Why is that? Because over 95% of people in any community in the world thinking negatively.
Or is it because of the defense mechanism? And negative
Why
might,
we have that defense mechanism?
Negative might harm us, so we retain that much longer.
Yes, because we have been taught that way. We have been programmed that way to think negatively. So negative thought actually is very acceptable.
Well, isn't it like the very first thing you teach your children is no?
Don't do it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
No.
The first thing you teach your children is no. It's the first word they learn. No. And then the other thing is conformity, right? We teach the child to look for conformity. If we say no, that child is not allowed to do so. So we teach our children, to look for conformity. That's why, if you look at the study, there is a study actually is done on children. 99.9% of children, of newborn, up to age of 18 months are genius. 99.9. That 0.1% is for those people, they have not developed a good brain, they have brain disease, so
Underdeveloped.
yeah. So from age 18 months, it stops declining quickly. And I'm going to show you on this whiteboard why this happens. Okay, if you can turn there. So, in childhood, our mind, our subconscious mind, let's go back to the picture from Dr. Thurman Fleet. He said, he drew this picture because we don't have picture of mind. When there is no picture, we get confused. When we talk about brain, we can imagine the picture of brain, but when we talk about mind, just like energy, we get confused because there is no picture. Because we think in picture, like everybody does, okay? I hear from people, oh, someone is has graphic memory. Everybody has graphic memory. Everybody. And when we, even when we talk, like the example I gave you, that house is on fire. You saw that picture, right? Even when we hear a story, when we talk to each other, we build that story, we build that picture. That's how we retain that memory, because we think in picture. So when we talk about mind and there is no picture, people get confused. Okay? And that's why Dr. Thurman Fleet came up with this stick person and said, okay, let's, this big circle represent the mind, and the smaller circle represent the body, because the body actually obeys mind. So this is mind, okay, this is body, and then if I go back to this picture, you see the mind actually order the body, and the body act, and through the action we get the results, right? In childhood, our subconscious mind is wide open. So there is no barrier here. There is nothing to reject. We don't have anything to reject the ideas. So whatever idea comes from our parents, our adults, our like teachers, it goes right into subconscious mind. So it's wide open. Whatever idea comes, it goes to the subconscious mind. And that's how we built this default programming. Later on, through age 6 to 8, usually, or 5 to 8, we develop the cortex, and then we have reasoning. Then we can reject some ideas. Based on what? Based on what we have learned from adults and from our experience. Because we do experience, right? We touch like a hot bowl or like a stove or something, and then we experience that. We know this is dangerous, this is hot, we should not put our hands there, right? So through experience, through the ideas from adults, we get this programming in our subconscious mind.
So that's when you start building conscious mind?
And then through from age 6 to 8 or 5 to 8, when we build, actually it's from before, like from like 2 years old. That's why after 18 months, when we start building the cortex, we start building the conscious mind. However, it's not well developed yet. So still, we can reject some ideas, however, not exactly until age between 5 to 8. Then we can reject ideas, we can have our reasoning, okay? And then the conscious mind develop. And we think logically. However, the default programming is here. We act upon the default program, upon emotions, upon the habits we have built. And that's how we order the body to act, and the body, when act, we get the results. Okay. Now the question is how you can change this default program. Because I told you we have the power to do it, right? So how we can change this default program to a better one, to a new one? So this is conscious mind, this is subconscious mind. Now, your conscious mind has the default program. Let's say you have this old default program in your conscious mind and your subconscious mind. You get a new idea and you get excited and you say, okay, so let's change our results. You get this new idea, and this new idea, we call it N for new. You accept it consciously. As you said, you decide and you act, okay? You decide upon this new idea. Like New Year resolutions. Almost everyone on New Year's Eve make a list of resolutions, which actually are the wishes, the goals that you want to achieve.
But that's, you are also following the society, the environment.
Conformity.
Yes, yeah,
Conformity.
exactly. And then you get this new idea and you want to act upon it. And I said we act upon our default programming, our subconscious mind, right, on our habit. If it's not a habit, we may act temporarily, however, we quit because it's not a habit. So we push ourselves to act. So this new idea goes into your subconscious mind. When it goes to your subconscious mind, you have this default program and you got this new idea. So what happens? A conflict. Because we have learned to live in a comfort zone, in a safe area. And when you get this new idea, it's just like you go into a new town. You don't know anything about this area, about this town. What happens? Fear,
Yeah.
right? Because you are scared of this new situation. You are scared of this new idea. You don't know the new situation or new town. So you have fear. You are afraid of that. If you cannot find a familiar situation, you quickly go back to the old idea. So you get rid of this new idea in your subconscious mind because of this conflict. So how we can make this new idea stay in our subconscious mind? Because every time this new idea comes, we have fear, and when you have fear, you hit the terror barrier. When you hit the terror barrier, what happens? You go back to the same results. So you need to break this ceiling, this barrier. If you can break this ceiling, then you have the new habit. Then you build this new program, and then you act upon it. So that's why it's very important to continue this new idea. That NASA actually did a study to see how long does it take to build a new idea, a new image in brain. And it took 24 to 25 days to build this new image in the brain. So that's why you hear about 3 weeks or 4 weeks, 30 days to build a new habit. And that's true. However, after that, even when it's here, you quickly can go back to the old programming. So that's why you need to continue for at least 90 days to build a habit. And sometimes, and these 30 days or 90 days, it should be uninterrupted. If there is any interruption between, and this has been proven by NASA, they did study on the group of astronauts, and then they found out actually a couple of them, they had to get out of the program. When they came back, they took exactly the same amount of days, like 24, 25 days, to get this new image in the brain. So that's why it should be uninterrupted. Okay? If there is interruption, you need to go back, start from zero.
So
From
that
day
should
zero.
be,
So
that should be continuous, sort of forced
yes,
repetition of that, what you want to change to.
Be
Yes.
very disciplined.
yes, exactly. You need to discipline yourself. And that's why you need to continue for 90 days for this new idea to build a habit and stay with that new habit. Then you get the result. Then after, sometimes it takes a few years to get this 90 days uninterrupted habit.
So wait, so if I'm on a diet,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm on the diet for 30 days, then I eat a piece of chocolate cake and 3 Dr. Peppers, I have to go back to the beginning?
That
Yes.
would be pretty
Basically.
good, yeah.
When
Same
you,
thing like if you were smoking,
Uh-huh.
that's a good one.
Exactly.
It's up
Right?
your lip to
I'll
go.
just have
Exactly.
one.
And you're done, you're hooked.
yes.
We're done.
Do you know, for any habit, when you cheat yourself, when you cheat your plan, you need to stop right there, go back to zero and start it again.
And
Okay.
that will kind of deter you from doing that.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You
You
should
should, day 60.
you should discipline yourself, otherwise not gonna make it happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting concept.
Yeah. So when you work on that for a long time, then you get rid of the old program and you end up only with the new habit, the new ideas, and you continue on that aspect of life, whatever it is. So, for example, if a salesman sells like 3 units a month and he decides to go to double it and sell 6 units a month, he may, well, if it's just a decision not acting upon it, he's not going to make it, not going to happen. But if this new idea goes to subconscious mind temporarily, so he's going to do it for a month or two, if it doesn't stay there, it's going to go back to the same old results. And at the end of the year, he's going to end up with the same production. But if this salesman or saleswoman continue this new habit for at least 90 days and over, then the results will be changed. That's how you change the results. Because, so let's recap. We act upon emotion. Emotion is from the habits. It's from our subconscious mind that is based on the default programming from childhood. And then we can change it. We have the power to change it. However, only less than 5% of people will decide actually to change it. They get new idea. Many people, like more than 90% of people, they get new idea. However, they don't act upon it. It's not a firm decision.
Or
They don't have that burning desire to act upon it and change it.
Or they don't act on it consistently.
Consistently, yes. And why? Because it takes courage to get out of your comfort zone.
Oh, yes, it does. A whole lot of it, too.
That's why people go back to the same results, because they cannot continue with this new idea. And I don't have time to go through the mind faculties, how you train your mind faculties to continue with the idea. However, next time I'm going to talk about the common denominator of success. At that time, I talk more about that. So, go back to recap. So this is how it works. And this is why your production, your habits, is so predictable. Everybody. It's not just you, me too, myself included. So we are predictable because we are acting upon our emotion. We are acting upon our habits. And for new results, for getting better results, we have to change that emotion. We have changed that habit. with this new idea we get, and we have to discipline ourselves. Then, when you do it at least for 90 days without interruption, then there is hope that you're going into the right direction. If not, you're going to go back to the same result, no matter what. And it's true in your health, in your wealth, in your relationship, in your social impact, no matter what. Okay? So now it's open for questions.
I just have this question, and it's really.
My battery actually is dying on my cell phone, so probably we're going to lose our friends on Facebook. But we can continue here. And you guys, if you have any question, you can email me or you can just post it on the Facebook. I'll answer it. Yeah, go ahead.
This really might be a little off the subject, but what about those people who you can ask them what happened May 26, 1982, and they can tell you exactly what day of the week that was, the weather, what happened. How does that work in their brain?
I didn't get the question exactly. What?
How do some people remember from the past exact details?
Oh,
Right?
well, yeah, it's you have the same memory actually. Like those people, they have like a very strong memory. However, some people they train their memory. And when I was preparing for medical school, actually, I trained my brain to retain the subjects. And there was a book about memory, how to build a strong memory, and I read that. And one of the instruction was making branches out of whatever you want to retain and connect it to other things. When you have those connections, you retain it much longer than usual.
Like
So you can-
pegging.
Yeah,
Pegging
so
back to
yeah, you can train your brain for a very strong memory, and you can do it. Everybody can do it.
The setting the default.
Yeah.
Resetting the
Like
default.
somebody remembers the telephone book.
Yeah, some people
It's just like when you
remember
did that
the.
cell phone. Remember how you had everybody's phone number in your brain?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, it's.
No, we're not.
Now you don't know anybody's
Just,
phone.
Yeah, actually, I used to, like, when I was in high school, I used to remember every single phone numbers of everyone.
No?
At that time, there was no cell phone, so it was hard to go through the phone book every time. So I memorized every number.
No.
So you can memorize that. It's not a problem. It's up to you. Right now, because we don't need it, there is cell phone. You can just punch the name and come up with the number, so you don't have to.
Except when your
Use
cell
your brain so
phone
much
dies.
Yeah.
And everything dies, because you're not backed up.
Okay. What other questions? Let's finish this because the battery is dead.